You can see a cue to stop. You can just turn it off.
Yeah. Welcome to tonight's program. We have an exciting program for you tonight with, I just said that same thing twice. Tonight we are going to be talking about pursuing your passions, a career panel of community members. Tonight's event is a collaboration between Korean American Civic Empowerment, KCS, Korean Community Services of New York, right? Not Greater New York, just New York?
And New Jersey,
And New Jersey, yes. And which also with the YASP program in KCS, along in conjunction with this beautiful auditorium by Queens Public Library. Right now, I would love to invite to the stage Councilwoman Sandra to give some remarks. Oh, there we go.
Good afternoon, I'm Councilwoman Sandra Ong, and I represent this district right here in Flushing, Queens, this amazing library. I want to first thank Flushing Library for always so generous in hosting events for the community. This is truly an amazing community space. I want to thank Yang, who's in charge of this library, sitting right here. Thank you. I also want to thank KCS of New Jersey and New York, and KACE, Richard, for hosting this event. This is the summertime, and I know it's a time for a lot of thoughts, reflections about what you want to do in your future. I'm really so happy to see so many young adults here. So that's a little bit about my career. It's not going to be as exciting as their careers, I guarantee you this. So I did grow up this community, and I went to all the local schools here. I eventually did become a lawyer. So after becoming a lawyer, I did go into private practice. Those are the, you do mergers, acquisitions, and like big firms. And then after that, I did a not-for-profit stint working with survivors of domestic violence. That's where it's more court-based, where you go into court, you represent survivors to get them orders of protection, divorces, even immigration. You get them a VAWA to try to help them get their VAWA status. And then after that, I worked for several elected officials, starting with the assembly member at that time, who was Jimmy Mang. Then I went on to work for Bill Thompson, the city controller. Then John Liu, another city controller, which I'm sure many of you have heard. I actually did a quick stint in New York State Parks. And then I worked for the Congresswoman Grace Meng, who again, I'm sure many of you heard, representing this district. And so finally in 2021, decided to run for office, and I've been in city council since 2022. I'm summarizing all that to let you know that, there are many different paths to your careers, and careers can change. You don't have to pick one path and think this is what I do for the rest of my life. It's good to be flexible, but this is really a good time to really think about what is it that you want to do in your life. So again, I really have to thank the panelists for taking the time out today to actually come and talk to you more in detail, more in depth about exactly what is it that they do. I know they're going to be inspirational. So again, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. We're going to start introducing our panelists, and we're going to get to know them a little better. Everyone should have received a flyer with some of the bios in the back. So we're going to go one by one, and we have a little video presentation for each folks. So we're going to start with Ms. Stephanie Chang. Ms. Chang is an actor, screenwriter, and creator. Her screenplay, Half the Sky, was a quarterfinalist at the prestigious Austin Film Festival, second rounder at Sundance Film Institute, and tells the story of the first Asian American female pilot in World War II. Yes, there were Asian American pilots in World War II. Her upcoming project, A Chinatown Ghost Story, continues her passion for bringing unique narratives to the screen. Beyond her work in film, Stephanie is deeply committed to her community. She serves on the board of directors for the Charles B. Wang Community Health Center, member of the events committee at Chinatown YMCA, former advisory committee member of the NACHC, National Association of Community Health Centers, and AAPCHO, and is a proud resident of Chinatown. Here is some of her acting chops.
I love Kanye. He has the same birthday as my mom, June 8th, except he was born in 1977. Oh, he's so talented. I mean, he writes his own songs, he raps, he produces, he's even a fashion designer. I mean, he does it all. It's too bad about the divorce with Kim, though. Since they have 4 kids and all. But hey, he's single. Oh, can you believe that he pays $200,000 a month in alimony?
I'm sorry. I really don't care about his life. Oh, but it's great that you know so much about him.
Oh, I can remember everything about someone's life, but I can't remember my own lines.
Oh.
Oh, do you have an Instagram? Chris was so sweet this morning. He walked me up the stairs.
It's nice of him.
Nice? He's perfect. He's handsome. He's rich, but he doesn't flaunt it. And I heard him on the phone with his grandma saying he has tickets to a Disney Underground tour, and she was saying she doesn't want to go because she's too decrepit. Do you know what this means?
Old age comes to us all.
No, he has a free ticket and you can nab it.
Why me?
Because he likes you and you like him. You're just being sad and mopey and protective of your heart since that guy Roger.
Roger was...
Cheating on you? Ugh, never date a guy with a six-pack. No one gets a six-pack to date only one girl. Chris, chiseled face, squishy body. That's the body that says I f one girl for the rest of my life.
Who am I to say no?
That was acting. All right, let's move on. Our next panelist is Mr. Charles Kim. Charles is a legislative policy analyst with the New York City Council's Legislative Division, where he has worked for the past 7 years. He worked on the Housing and Buildings Committee and the Technology Committee before shifting his current positions in the Compliance Division and on the Public Housing Committee. In his role, he works directly with City Council members, city agency officials, the Mayor's Office, other local electeds, and members of the public to help pass legislation, improve enforcement of local laws, and realize policy goals. Charles is passionate about the environment, the arts, community service, and youth empowerment. Here is a video presentation. Actually, no, before that, just a couple of things I think Charles wanted to share.
Hello? Oh. So I wasn't expecting to go so soon. This was kind of supposed to be after like everyone else's super artsy, awesome presentations, and then I'd show up and be like, fun! But with that being said, so this is like a committee report. This is something that's like publicly available for you all to view. The city council basically, we can go to the next slide. That is, I don't know how many of you have visited the council's webpage, but it's great. Our web development division works very hard on it. Y'all should pay it a visit from time to time. Is council member in that? Oh, she isn't. Oh, that would be so good. Okay, but anyways, yeah, and so this is also, sorry, yeah, this is like not really hitting joke-wise because there's like, anyways.
By show of hands, who loves spreadsheets? I love spreadsheets.
We love spreadsheets.
There we go.
Don't be shy.
We love
There's
spreadsheets.
dozens of us, right?
Organized.
And so there's a thing called Legistar. We work with that, and there's like members of the public where none of this is privileged information. You can all like find this by Google and everything. And this is basically like showing what's happening at the council at any given moment. Next slide, please. And I guess, so I tried to do like, what the kids do, what the cool people do, and do like a voiceover, day in the life kind of thing. I failed epically, so I'm gonna try to do my best with a live voiceover. Ooh. All right, so we're back at it. So this is basically me at my desk. I'm in a meeting right now, and we're discussing kind of like what next steps we want to take with a certain bill. This is council chambers. This is where a lot of hearings happen, and I forgot what I put as the next photo. Hold on. Oh, yeah. So this is like coincidentally me dressing the same as my coworkers. That's just like a little fun tidbit. What was the next? Oh, and this is also another hearing room. That's me. I don't know if you can see me up there. We do hearings on different topics of oversight, different pieces of legislation, and the hearings are, this is me meeting with my coworkers. They're not cat people, that was just to protect their identities. What else? Oh yeah, I'm taking notes. Meals are very important. Oh, so at council we also get asked to go out to certain city installations. This is Greenwood Cemetery. I'm realizing I'm talking very fast because I didn't realize the pictures would be moved this fast. But Greenwood Cemetery, they're basically showing us. Oh, and this is a policy conference. Wait, sorry, can we pause real quick? Thank you so much. Okay, so just to take a quick breath, before what you saw was Greenwood Cemetery. They basically were showing us different green infrastructure initiatives that they had installed around their essentially their park space. And so that helps us as people who work at the council to basically have like better context and better information to work with when we go and work with council members and other advocates and stakeholders, and they want to basically implement certain types of policy. And this, what you see here, is basically another iteration of that. We'll also go out either on our own or we'll be invited to attend certain like policy conferences. So this was like a Urban Green Council, green construction policy conference that was held at NYU. And so myself and some of my colleagues went to kind of get a lay of the land on what people in the industry, what people in the advocacy space were wanting to work on in the future. And I think we can play it down. I'm still taking notes. There was a lot of notes to take on this meeting. Oh, can we pause real quick? Thank you so much. So also sometimes we'll have to go directly to like certain sites of like specific incidents, depending on the subject matter that we work with. So in my role on like the public housing committee, there was an incident a while back where there was a gas explosion at a public housing building, at a Metro building. So this was basically us as committee staff going in to basically help inform, but also be there in case there were any questions that needed to be answered, that we could answer in our capacity in terms of like what the council was planning to do, but also to serve as support in terms of like understanding what the leadership, agency leadership, industry leadership were expecting to move forward in that scenario. So that way, if like any other advocates or council members or members of the public contact us, we can be like, actually, we have some more specific information thanks to meetings like this. So this was like in the basement of the building that had a gas explosion, so that like we could directly view kind of like how much the damage had extended and what was being done to repair, and things like that. Pause real quick. So this was just like a little sampling of like one of the nice little perks of like working at council. You get like kind of special behind the scenes access from time to time. Of like this was this is what City Hall looked like during the Knicks championship run. This was like a front row view on like the championship parade, Knicks in 5, all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Some more notes. Yeah. Okay, pause here. Thank you so much. So, just like another additional fun little tidbit, there's like an official government softball league, and we play other city agencies. The finance division, shockingly good for working on spreadsheets all the time. They're like crushing it. On the left is DOHMH, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Their mascot is a syringe, which is crazy, but also hilarious. And then on the right, you have, we get mentioned by the speaker. Got a special shout out because we beat the mayor's office in a softball game. And when I say we, I mean yes, like yours truly included was part of that softball game. But yeah, and so, there's like fun aspects of the government job. This is like one of them as well. So continue to play, please. Oh yeah, this is like, you don't have to pause here. This is just like an example of some of the shenanigans that happened in City Hall Park. So like, what the heck was going on there, right? Oh my God. Anyways, I think that's close to the end of it. Yeah, so, oh, pause here. So this is basically what I feel like at the end of a very busy workday. And that's really all I wanted to share about that. So yeah, continue playing. So I think that's it. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
All right, next we have Mr. Kreese Lee. Kreese is a New York-based Korean-American comic artist and illustrator who has worked on various projects and covers for Marvel, DC, Image, and many others. Kreese has also worked on illustrations for Marvel Snap and has a creator-owned project called Bladesmith, published through 24/7 Comics. Kreese's recent works can also be found on his Instagram at Kreese Art. That's Kreese with 3 E's. All right.
Hi, my name is Kreese, and I'm a cover artist for comic companies like Marvel and DC. I just have a lot of covers now coming out. I have some Absolute Batman Midtown exclusive coming out, other retailer exclusives, some covers of Dynamite and Marvel. So after graduating in 2015, I started doing comic conventions straight off the bat. Looked for like small conventions local. I started branching out to like Baltimore, Washington DC, and then made connections at these cons and then started growing from there. Started also doing more like published work. Definitely check out my creator-owned project through 24/7 Comics called Bladesmith. It's kind of like John Wick meets Food Wars or like Iron Chef, chefs that are also assassins. And that's been like really fun to work on. The first 3 issues are out. We're waiting to do the second half, so 4 through 6. Definitely check out my Instagram page. Try to post frequently. It's at Kreese Art with 3 E's.
Okay, also all the artwork up here, this is by this man. All right, and next up, Miss Clara Kim. Clara is a K-pop cover artist, dancer, digital creator, and founder of Studio Spicy, a NYC-based K-pop dance studio where she trains students into confident, dynamic performers. Clara began her dance journey at age 3, training in ballet, jazz, theater, and more. With over 10 years of K-pop dance experience, she is now in her 3rd year of teaching and inspiring fans to dance with confidence and passion. Clara served as a judge in the 2025 H-Mart K-pop contest and the 2024 Pop-Off competition in Connecticut. In 2015, Clara co-founded Evermore Dance Team, growing their YouTube presence to over 90,000. In 2025, she founded All Nighters. Under her leadership, this team has surpassed 120,000 YouTube subscribers. All Nighters has performed at K-Pop Club Night, Korea Fest, and the annual Korean Parade and Festival, and placed first at both the NJKACC K-Pop Dance Contest and the Skyview High K-Pop Cover Competition. And here's some video clips.
Just for some context, I was reached out via Netflix to help promote once the movie is out. Yeah, so just more context on that. Netflix wanted to do kind of a multi-city dance workshop where they promote once K-Pop Demon Hunters came out. Actually, this was before the movie came out, which is an interesting choice. But, so the movie hadn't come out, they were trying to promote it, and they had me go to Texas, for some reason, to teach a class. And this was original choreo of mine to help promote the song and get people hyped up for the movie. This is just what my day looks like.
The last time I checked, my class has 28 people. Let's see how many people actually show up. I have not taught this large of a class.
join my class. This is a reel of a couple of videos that I've been in. If you're ever in Times Square and you see me, come say hi.
So now that we got to know our panelists a little more, we're gonna, I guess, follow-up questions on that introduction. So if we can just go around also, tell us about the work that you currently do right now, and I guess like how you came to be where you are, right? Like what was like your career path and where you ended up, and I guess like other types of questions that people might be curious about would be, did you always know that this is what you wanted to do? And I guess like how did you land where you are right now? So I guess we can go just like in that order. But you can pop in if you like.
Oh, should I start from the beginning of how I got started, maybe?
Sure.
So, hi everyone, I'm Stephanie. I didn't know that I would be an actor or a screenwriter. I studied business management and I wanted to be a lawyer. And I worked in nonprofit for a long time because I wanted to make the world a better place. And moved into tech, and then after that I was kind of bored at my job, and I told my sister that, you know what, I have a bucket list. I have a list of all the things I want to do in life, and one of them is just to be in a movie. Background, I don't mind just crossing the street. So my first project was New Amsterdam. It was my first day, and it was like 500 people. And I was just one of the 500 background actors, and I had so much fun that I decided to continue doing it. And then little by little, I just kept doing more and more, and then COVID happened. And then during COVID, I was hearing about this story in Louisiana about a black man who, I know this is random, but he wasn't allowed to be buried in a cemetery. He was a police officer. And then apparently it was a whites only cemetery in 2021. And it made the news, and it kind of, that story really triggered something, because I remember this woman called Halo Ying Lee. She was a Asian American pilot, one of the first in the US, and she and her brother, who both fought in the war and died, she was in the US, whereas her brother was in France. They weren't allowed to be buried in a military cemetery in Oregon. And because of that, I decided to write this story, because I knew that no one else would write this script. So I wrote the script, and at that time I didn't know anybody in the industry. So there's a lot of people when you're first starting out who say like you should not submit your work anywhere until it's perfect. And I didn't have anyone that I know in the industry at that time. So I submitted my script to the Nichols Fellowship that's run by the Oscars. Sorry, this is a long conversation. And then what happens is I sent it in, they gave me notes back. I edited it and then sent it, and then I sent it to Austin Film Festival, and then I was a quarterfinalist. They gave me notes back again, and I took those notes and edited it again and sent it to Blacklist. And they really tore my screenplay apart. And then But with those notes, I edited it and then was a second rounder at Sundance Film Institute. So that was my transition from that time to now. And what I'm currently working on is I just finished my the festival run for my friend's film. It's called Xenogender. It's about a man that identifies as a crocodile. So I have a lot of random projects that I'm working on. I honestly try to do any kind of work possible because there's very few roles out there for Asian people. So if you're interested, please I need more Asian writers. Yeah. Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, no, that was perfect. Okay. All right, Charles, would you like to go next?
Hello? Oh, thank you. Yeah, as to how I ended up here, it's funny because I'm originally from California. I wasn't born or raised in New York. Which, side note, every time I see y'all on the subway, even as little kids, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But yeah, so I came out here for college, and it basically boiled down to whether I wanted to go into the private versus the public sector, and I found that essentially everything that motivated me was based out of, I guess, just wanting to do just marginal good at the very least, at the end of the day, and it turned out that working in government was the best avenue for that because no matter where I volunteered or where I ended up working, at the end of the day, there was always some kind of intersection with government and as an extension of that with policy. So that basically turned me into, turned my interest towards how can I get to work in government. And I mean, speaking of the scarcity of Asian writers, the way I ended up working at city council here was because I Googled Korean American politicians and only 2 results showed up. And one of them was in the neighborhood near me. So through that, it basically ended up becoming a connection that allowed me to first intern at New York City Council and then work full time there. So yeah, and were there any other questions?
No, I think that's fine. Don't worry. They're doing great, aren't they?
Woo! Hello again, I'm Clara. Like my introduction had mentioned, I started dancing since I was 3, and my mom saw me just boogieing to some music. She's like, this girl gotta go into a class. And then I did dance for a pretty long time into high school, and K-pop has always been my life in every aspect, whether it's entertainment or just fashion or beauty or whatever. So in high school, I started a K-pop dance team with my friends just for fun, and that's how I started filming covers in Times Square. And right now, there's actually so many teams now in every borough in the city. You'll see so many teams come from Jersey, from Queens, just to film their content. So 10 years ago, I wasn't, I was only one of few people who were doing it, and I am still doing it. And then that kind of transitioned into me teaching because my Korean mother was like, you gotta do something with this instead of just dancing in the streets. And because I love teaching kids and I would interact with kids a lot, I was like, of course I need to try this. And I teach a lot of kids now, and I have to teach open classes for adults in the city as well. And then I think making those videos in Times Square kind of transitioned me into making content. So I also make content, and that can be anything in terms of vlogs, lifestyle, but mostly K-pop focused. I think that's just the core of my interests. Yeah.
My name's Chris. How did I get into art? I wasn't good at music, so that was my first choice, and I always drew as a kid, and so naturally I just went into drawing, and I watched a lot of cartoons growing up, so drawing superheroes was kind of my dream, and went to school for it, and then after school I did a lot of conventions, Comic Cons, and then built a lot of connections to get opportunities to work in the industry. And currently I'm working covers for Marvel and DC, and like my own book that I mentioned, the Bladesmith book. That's it.
Awesome. All right. So, I know that for a lot of folks that also want to pursue similar, different types of careers that you guys are in, there's always that, I guess, the voice in the back of the head that feels like, how hard is this going to be? Like, what are some hurdles along the way? So I guess from your personal experiences, because you've lived through them, and you'd be the best person to really answer those. What are some challenges that you faced? How have you tried to overcome it or to navigate through it? And and also, if it's possible, was there like a moment that made you feel like you were sure you were on the right path? And anyone can answer this one.
I think for me, this is a side note. I have an alter ego. I also went to school for art, and I also tattoo. So there's two sides of my life where I didn't explicitly share all of this information, but I went to school for art. I went to LaGuardia for high school for art, and then I went out of state for painting. And even though I had the talent for painting and art and all of that, I couldn't stop dancing. And I actually had similar experiences where I was like, in the entertainment industry, do I see myself as an Asian American succeeding? And at the time I didn't. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it safe, I'm gonna do art, I know I'm good at it. Not that it's easier, but just for me at that moment, I was like, I think that's the best choice for me. But no matter what, I would find myself dancing, filming videos of myself dancing, dancing with friends, finding people to dance with, and it became a point where that was the most enjoyable thing for me. And not that I don't enjoy doing art, but at the moment, I think when I'm dancing live in front of people or for a video, I feel like that's the most thrilling part of my life. And it just has to be part of what I do now, no matter what, even if it brings income or it doesn't. But it's gotten to a point where I've put myself out there, and great opportunities like Netflix, that's really great. Not that that comes out all the time, but things will come towards you if you just know what you really enjoy doing. And even if you don't, I feel like you can take time to figure that out as well.
Yeah, so I feel like in the arts, it's pretty hard because you're kind of working for yourself. And like we're talking about jobs and, you're trying to make money and the living and stuff, but there's definitely like some months where you make no money and it's kind of hard to like stay motivated, but assuming that like art is like the thing that you're really passionate about, you have to be like self-critical about your own work. You have to keep pushing yourself. There's definitely been times where like no work came in, but like being able to draw, you can create work anytime. And so you kind of have to create your own opportunities, use like social media to like boost your work out there. You're trying to create more opportunities for yourself. And then I think your question was like, was there a moment when you knew it was like for yourself, like you're on the right track, right? I think like for me, the big marble break, that was like a really good sign that I was on the right track. It did take like, I think like 6 years after graduating school to get that job, and it was like 3 years of trying. And so that kind of just tells you how much you have to work to get those big gigs. It doesn't just come. So,
yeah, so before my feature-length script, I wrote the YouTube video that you saw. I wrote those scenes because the script that I was presented with, I didn't really like it. So then I was like, I'm just gonna rewrite what I want to write and what I want to say. So So then I wrote those mini scenes, and then when COVID happened and there was less work for actors, I saw I was remembering that time of the woman that I remember from her story. So then I felt like I had to write. It wasn't because it was a story that really compelled me. So it took me a long time to write to edit that script. It actually only took me 3 weeks to write it, but the editing took years. And so there's gonna be a lot of walls that you have to go through. So as an actor, there are so many walls. And because people have to protect themselves. Why do people make, Marvel movies, right? It's because it's a safe route, if you keep making, people are worried about their jobs. They don't want to lose their jobs, and they want to make money for the company that they work with. So sometimes it's hard for companies to take a chance on a new person. So the best thing to do sometimes is to do your own work and put your own work out there. And if people like it, then great. If not, it's okay. You keep working on the next thing. So these independent film projects that I work on, those are my friends who were just actors, and then they decided to buy a camera, and then they started, and little by little, lighting, and then we just keep doing our own projects, and that's how we're able to keep going. We're really just working on our own independent projects right now.
Yeah, so if you're worried about monthly salaries, come join the government. Right? We got stability, baby. No, in all seriousness, in terms of struggles, it's one of those things where you come face to face with what you're most deficient in. In my case, when I came to New York City Council, I realized I didn't have a lot of good work habits or study habits in that way, right? So for all y'all who are furiously Googling, how do I have a better, time management system? How do I finish before a deadline? Yada, yada, I got you. I've been there. And basically what it ended up boiling down to was perseverance in relationships, where it's through the support of my friends, family, colleagues, as well as not giving up on the work itself. And as you've heard from the other panelists, I feel there is that through line of persevering at the thing that you enjoy or that the thing you're dedicated to that I think really resonates here, because that's essentially what brought my career to the point that it is today. And in terms of when I realized I was on the right path, you see a lot of the work that I do is behind the scenes, but there are some moments where I'll come across a member of the public who will basically take me aside and be like, thank you for holding this hearing because nobody else is really talking about this. And it'll be moments like that. And I think there's definitely moments like that for you all in your lives as you pursue your interests, that when it resonates with you inside, you can really take that and be like, oh, okay, this is what I want to do.
All right, thank you. I think that's a great segue to the next question I had, right? You mentioned about your friends, the people that supported you. So I guess, not guess, I know. I know what I'm going to ask next. I want to know what your community looks like, right? Your friends, the people that you work with, the people that you confide with. You don't have to name names, but what does it look like, right? How do you connect with your community? And also, how do you give back through your work, right? There's many ways that of how to contribute to your community. And so, what opportunities, programs have you offered to open doors for people? Have you mentored other people with similar passions? What is your network? What is your community? What do your, the people that you're surrounded by, right? That love, support you, and also that you give that support back. What does that look like for you?
So from my community, I have friends that I meet on set. So a lot of the times when you're just doing background, you could just be an extra and just get your paycheck. But I'm busy networking. I'm making friends. I love to talk. So, and from being on set, I made a lot of friends who also want to work on their own independent projects. So then, how I made some of the films, not the ones I mentioned, but some of my other film projects is because my friend had a script, and I helped edit the script, and then we filmed it. So I was doing, helping with lighting, I was helping with camera, I was helping with, I was the PA basically, moving props around, right? So my community is the people that I see on set, the background actors. So you never know who knows who, and who can get, someone that is like a sound person. So you just have to put yourself out there sometimes and just chat with people, because you don't know the resources that other people have. You might not have a lot of resources, but if you combine and group up with other people and team up, that's a team right there. That's a team that can, so some of my projects is a 3-person team. It's really small, and we're doing everything ourselves. And in terms of giving back, I do a lot of free work as well. So I have friends that are in school studying film, and if they need someone as to play an Asian mom, right? Then or a doctor, and they need and it's no pay. I'm okay with doing that, because first of all, I don't know where these kids are gonna go. One day, 50 years later, they might put me in something important, right? But also, I just find it unfair that sometimes in these film schools, right, there are a lot of money, and some students can afford $20,000 to put into their student film, because they have the connections, they have the parents, and some kids do not have that. And so I'm always working with kids who don't have that. So.
What is your community? My community is a lot of nerds and geeks. People who like comics and superheroes and anime. I have a bunch of artist friends that I see when I go to conventions. We're all across the world, so we're all introverted in a way. We're all in our offices just working. So we hang out at the cons. There's friends, art friends, and I have home friends and church friends and stuff. But community is just people support us. Is just people that come to cons or buy the books that we make, and my job is to draw the most entertaining image I can for these people. And so it's very I don't want to say lonely life, but it's a lot of just time spent in front of the desk drawing, and then you kind of see everybody at the conventions or when you do signings and stuff, which is pretty cool. What's the second part? How do I get back? So actually, similarly, I think with teaching or just giving advice to people who want to get into the arts. Art school is expensive, and not everybody can afford it. There's a lot of resources online, but I feel in-person teaching is the best way to learn. And so I did take in a couple students that were interested in getting into the industry and stuff. But I'm always happy to give advice. People reach out to me on Instagram and stuff for just critiques and stuff. At the conventions, they'll bring their portfolio. I'll take a look at it and see what I can, if I can help them get better and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, back to the super glamorous life of government, baby. No, in all seriousness, public servants, it's I'm really grateful for the community that I have, because it's kind of self-selecting for people who are prioritizing a certain aspect of life, and it's a significant portion of that is giving back. Because none of us are in it for the money. There's no money in it. But it's one of those things where community is a function of proximity and time, right? So it's like the amount of time that you spend and like who you're around the most. And in that way, I feel like just noticing that is really important, because then you notice certain things about yourself as well, like how you interact with the people around you. And when it comes to giving back, it's like a nice thing where, you know, I'm sure many of you have come across that concept of like when you teach, you also learn something, right? And like explaining a concept is like one of the best ways to learn something. So in that same way, it's like when you remember where you are at your lowest point and like what people said to you at that point, then you can like pay that forward to someone else who might be in need of that, right? And I feel like something that I learned from my work in my community is that like you don't know what you don't know, and that's especially true with just assuming, like you cannot assume that what you know is also what everybody else knows. Like you always have something to offer, and in that way, I think, yeah, it's I'm just really blessed.
Well, my community is very local. If you go to Penn Station, there is a corridor of K-pop dancers, and that is simply because studios in New York City are too expensive. And a lot of the dancers are quite young. There's a lot of high schoolers, there's a lot of college students, there are people who are working as well, and it's just a big passion project, right? It's K-pop fans coming together, wanting to dance together. Some people take it a bit more seriously. Some people have dance backgrounds, some people don't. Some people are just doing it for the fun of, you know, whatever group that they really like. And so you'll see a whole corridor of people dancing in the heat of that specific hallway that has no AC. And then same thing with Times Square. Every evening or so, usually, you'll go there and you'll see a bunch of dancers. Now that there are a lot more teams popping up and people are making their own crews, someone's always filming a video. There's sometimes 3 to 5 teams at one time, all sharing the same space together. So I'll get there for my filming and I'll see other groups and I'll be like, well, this filming will take 2 hours at least. So there are so many different people who join the community specifically for the K-pop dance community, and you can see there's a range of people who have experience with dance, and as someone who does, I actually tend to lead a lot of the rehearsals that I am part of, and you're kind of like a dance captain for that team to help get that project along and get everyone into shape for that video that they're creating. There's also a lot of other events like random play dances. If you're a K-pop fan, you'll know. What happens is you create a big circle around, you know, whatever empty space. Usually it's an outdoor space, like a park or something. Then the DJ will play a random song, and whoever knows that song, run into the middle, dance their heart out, because K-pop choreo is already set with this song, right? So usually people are very well versed, and now that TikTok is, you know, making that a lot easier. And then whoever knows the dance will dance in the middle, and then you come back out. And it's usually like a section of the chorus or something, and that's really fun to see when such diverse people come together and you're united by this one thing, which is the song and the dance. And sometimes there are little kids, there are a lot of older fans, there's a wide range of people, and sometimes I'll be dancing alongside my students. So I teach kids who are from like 3 to 4 years old all the way up to middle school and onwards, and then I also teach adults. So I'll be dancing alongside my students, I'll be dancing alongside my friends who are also dancers with me, and you're just one little ant, part of this whole colony of people, and it's really fun, and it's actually a huge passion project because most of the time K-pop videos get copyrighted by the artist. So most of the videos I make, I don't make money off of that. It's more just because I love to do that. And then there are other extensions of making that video that I try to, you know, find how to make money off of. But it's just, we're just coming together because we love it, you know, which is the main point of our community.
All right, thanks.
So those were the questions that I had prepared, but for everyone that registered, they had an opportunity to submit some questions. So I have a few of them written down in advance. Some of them I'm going to combine, so I'm not going to read them off word for word. So this first one is going to be really fun. I'm going to actually combine a couple of them, right? So it's like, what's your favorite, what's the best, whatever. So this is going to be a combination. So if you guys can talk about it, it seems random, but I feel like it's very New York for the other two. The first one, I'm like, okay, we got to talk about it. What is your favorite Pokemon and why? Right? We're at the age where all of us know what it is, right? That all the panelists should know this. So what's your favorite Pokemon and why? What is your favorite boba spot? And where do you think you get the best slice of pizza? Now, if it's too challenging, you stick to the Pokemon.
Pokemon, my favorite is Magikarp, because it's also my birthday Pokemon. So January 29 is 129, and Pokemon number 129 is Magikarp. See, I have a little Magikarp here. Boba spot, Kung Fu tea. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really drink boba tea too much. I don't crave it enough to like go out and find a favorite spot. Pizza though, I do like Rico's pizza. If you guys know Rico's pizza, it's Connecticut style thin crust pizza with hot oil and clam. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no knowledge of Pokemon. I like in elementary school, all the boys would be playing and like talking about it, and I know Pikachu, but I'll say Pikachu, but I have no knowledge, and I don't even want to make a choice and not even be accurate to what.
If I were to assign one to you, I'd say Jigglypuff, because in the show,
Oh, I know Jigglypuff.
is
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. And
yeah, they're very nice. They try to listen. They make the effort.
I appreciate that. For boba, I think my recent go-to is just AT. Just hits really hard. I love strong jasmine. And then pizza, not particularly like a specific pizza spot, but when I am really hungry after dancing, whatever pizza is nearby, honestly, just hits really hard. Yeah.
Pokemon. Yeah, I was like really into Pokemon during like a really emo stage of my life. So Absol became my favorite Pokemon. For those of you who aren't aware, it's literally like a Pokemon with like that stereotypical emo cut, right? And it flip-flops between either Absol or like Lotad, because it's literally looks like an amphibian that's just head empty all the time. And I feel like that's how I feel on like a semi-regular basis. Yeah, so...
I'm gonna be honest, I thought you would have picked like a cat Pokemon. With all the cats in the videos, something like Meowth or something,
Right. Yeah, and I guess boba, I'm partial to like my neighborhood spot, which is Chick-Tea. I don't know if they have other locations, but they're really good. The flavor, gotta go with the classic brown sugar boba. Super good. For all you crazy people that like 75% or 100% sweetness, I don't judge, but like also what? And then the last one was pizza. There's a great spot in my neighborhood again called Elegante Pizzeria, and they do, I think, the best Sicilian slice in New York. It's really good.
I was playing Pokemon Go, and after I caught Pikachu, I stopped playing. So, but
I guess you won the game, right?
yeah, no. So I love Jigglypuff. I do love Jigglypuff. I love Pikachu. But the crazy thing is, Magikarp. So I dressed up as Princess Jasmine on a Magikarp. So I was carrying a Magikarp cut out board. Yeah. So it's crazy. So.
I don't know if they understand the joke.
Oh wait, no.
Wait, who understands the?
Oh.
Who understood the joke? The joke costume.
Because Aladdin. Do you know Aladdin? Please tell me you know Aladdin. I'm not that old. Aladdin and how they're on a magic carpet. So then I think they got it. It was just not as funny.
Okay, all right, okay.
Which makes me feel worse. That's funny. So, what's boba?
Boba and pizza.
Okay, the crazy thing is, I used to drink a lot of boba as a kid, and I always wanted to open a bubble tea shop. So, then I went to Taiwan, and they tricked me, man. They were like, buy one, get one free. So I had like 2 bobas every day. So I kind of like, I don't drink as much boba anymore. It kind of scared me, because there was so much there. And then,
I used to manage a boba shop.
what? Richard, we can open one.
In a past life.
This is a business
call out to
plan.
the movie that you were kind of sort of.
Yes.
She was in past lives.
I was cut out from that though, but I wasn't past life. And so the boba question is, I actually make my own boba at home now. So yeah, pizza place. Okay, so don't hate me, but I honestly, it's really hard because it really depends on what kind of pizza person are you. Like, do you like thin crust? Do you like thick crust? Do you like, what do you like a New York slice? So, but for me, right now, my favorite slice is the crab slice pizza that tastes like gooey lobster bisque from Artichoke's Pizza. I know everyone gets the artichoke slice, but delicious.
All right, thank you. All right. This was my way of figuring out which pizza to get them. Anyway, so we'll go to some other questions, a bit more related to a career panel, right? What was like your most favorite memorable moment in like the work that you guys done? I'm sure there's a lot, so it's gonna be hard to select, but like a favorite moment. Anyone can go.
So I was invited to go to Abu Dhabi Comic-Con like 4 years ago, and I sold artwork to the Sheik, which was pretty cool. He bought stuff that was not for sale, and then obviously I had a price in my mind, and he bought it. That was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's like you and Leonardo da Vinci also sold something to the Sheik, didn't he? Didn't they buy that painting? Damn.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's hard to pick a singular moment. I feel like I really enjoy my workplace, so I guess my favorite moment is, this is going to be super cheesy, but getting to see my coworkers each day in the office, I think is my favorite part of my work, because going back to that other aspect of, I guess, like self-selection, it's like a lot of very experienced people who come from like all different kinds of backgrounds, and like there was one guy who's like a web developer, and I asked him like, oh yeah, like did you go to college for like coding and whatever? And he's like, no, I went to college for dance, and he just started like busting out moves, and I'm like, we're in a workplace. This is wild. But yeah, no, and I feel like each day I like learn something new, or I'm like learning something new either about the person, or like they have advice to give me about like life, like one of those things where also, so pretty much all my coworkers have like a different thing that they're also doing on the side. So they're like running their own organizations, or they're like doing their own like creative pursuits, and it basically consolidated to like a bunch of people basically showing me that like dreams only really die if you like stop chasing them, right? So I feel like I'm really fortunate to have coworkers that I guess embody that every day. So I think that would be my favorite part of the job.
I would have sworn it would have been during the parade with the Knicks, because we were literally on a Zoom call talking. It was like, hey, what's going on behind you? He's like, oh yeah, they're doing the whole parade thing. I was like, wait, what? It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I gotta say, getting front row seats to the Knicks parade was pretty nice. It's pretty cool.
I wish I knew him earlier. Because I live near City Hall, but I can only like watch it from like, TV. For me, can you repeat the question again? Like, what is it?
Ironic, it's a question about memory. So what is your most memorable moment, your favorite memory
yes.
of working in?
Oh,
in,
it's so hard to decide. So hard to decide because I'm always having fun on set. Because if you're not having fun, like what's the point? But I remember the last we were showing Xenogender at the North Film Festival, and I was laughing like crazy in the audience watching our film because I forgot how funny it was. Because when you first make the film, I kind of remember how like, okay, it was like bitter cold. I was the assistant director and doing the camera, so I'm like outside the freezing cold in winter, right? And my friend is a sound guy stuck in the back of the car. So, but when we were watching it, after a while, that was our last festival run, and I haven't seen that movie in a long time, in like a year. I just started cracking up, and like elbowing my friend, and we just started laughing like so much on our own film. So yeah, this is fun too.
No, but having a great look, that's a big theme over here. Having like fun coworkers that you like to see at work every day, like that's fantastic. That's like finding a unicorn in the forest, really. Yeah.
This is very specific, but so Jenny from Blackpink, she had released her album, and like a day or so after that, she came to Radio City Music Hall to do like a showcase of it. And the concert finished, I had left the venue. The album had just been out for like 2 or 3 days or so I didn't really know the music that well. So I was learning like Jenny on the spot across the street, and trying to film a TikTok, but I couldn't remember it because like I couldn't hear the music. And I was doing the dance, and apparently somebody walks by, 2 people walk by, and they're like, oh, you did a good job, or something like that, right? I turn around, and it's the 2 dancers that were dancing with Jenny. And I was like, what? Well, thank you. And then my friend was with me, but she was like doing her own thing on the side. She was like, oh, you should dance together. And I was like, no, I don't know the dance. Don't do this to me. And then they were like, oh yeah, sure. And they walk over, and then we're filming a video together. And I don't really know this dance, so I'm just trying to wing it on the spot. It was only a really short section, and we took a video together, and I was like, this is crazy. But it's so fun when it's like random things happen all the time while we're dancing in the street. Obviously, New York City streets are crazy, and I did not expect that to happen. And yeah, it's just a crazy collab moment.
That's pretty cool. Also, does anybody know the pun in Jenny? The song like Jenny? Who knows the pun? Okay, so for not a lot of hands. So in Korean, Jenny can also, it's a name, sure, but it could also mean her? Who's that? That person? That girl? Right? Jenny? It's like, is it her? Jenny? Like, oh, you know.
That's also a fun fact that I share in my classes, and that's why she's like pointing to everyone at some point of the song, because she's like, who's Jenny? It's me, that's her.
I didn't hear that. Say it to the mic.
My Chinese name is Jenny, so it was like kind of funny.
Also, I don't think anyone realized that I assembled a bunch of people with C's in their names. Oh. Everyone here has a C in their name. At least one C. Yes. Huh?
On purpose?
No, it was a coincidence, but I realized. Okay. Back on track. I get easily distracted. So, I guess this is a little bit more specific for folks that are, I guess, self-employed, right? So, in terms of the small business life, and I know it comes with challenges, but the thing is, a lot of us, a lot of our parents are also, in a way, small business owners. Not always, but there's probably a good chunk of us where that's been the life. So, there is a difference in generational approaches, right? So, I guess from your experiences as small business owners, or contractors, or whatever it is, tell us a little bit more about your just what it's like, right? As opposed to working for a salary, and so a little comfortable over here. But in terms of what it's like to really just go out there and give it your all to really make your passion a career.
It's a one-man show all the time. My parents were graphic designers, so they were freelancers as well. So it was very used to seeing them doing their own thing at home. So I don't know the life of a salary man. So I actually don't really know what I'm referencing like in comparison to that all the time. So I'm always like trying to figure out how to keep this like line of work going. And that's why I kind of carry a lot of different hats. I tattoo, I dance, I teach, I make content, and it's all intertwined into things that I like to do, but it's managing all of that at the same time and prioritizing certain things over others to make sure that you don't burn yourself out.
So I used to work at the government one time too. So that was, so I did have a salary job before, and then, so I worked for many years, and then my family wasn't against anything that I did, but I didn't really tell them that I'm gonna act, so, and I think they kind of still don't know what I do, so which is fine.
That means you're really good at acting.
I'll leave it in the dark, so I worked for many years, and so now acting doesn't pay well. Commercials pay better, so I do audition all the time for commercials, and that's how I get paid more. But it is tough. It is tough industry. So I also still do background. I really love it. Actually, from background acting, this is how I pick up people for other roles. So I would add them on my Instagram, and then if ever my friends need someone who I'm looking for someone who looks like a security guard outside a club, and then I'll be like, I have someone in mind. So so I'm always trying to find work here and there.
So in this freelance art side of the business, you're kind of always looking for the next gig. So I'll be working on a project, it could either be like my own thing or for a company, and then that has like a deadline, right? So after that, I have nothing. So then it's like, what can I plan for the future? And then, again, like going to the conventions, you're surrounding yourself with people in the industry, and that kind of, you have to make connections, and like that maybe will bring an opportunity to work on something in the future, and then you're always just kind of reaching out that people are going to be thinking about you for their project. And so, yeah, you have to be kind of annoying sometimes and like send out emails, but even if they don't reply, and then it's like, hey, I'm open to do this kind of work, just remember, and then maybe a month later you just send the same thing, and then maybe one day you'll get a reply back, and then a job for like 2 months.
100%. You got to advocate for yourself, right? And that's how you find success in life. And just because things don't work out doesn't mean that you didn't do the work. You do the work. Not everything will always turn out upside, but that's just life. It doesn't mean that you failed. It just means you got to get up and do it again. Right? That's one of those lessons. And I think that segues to another question that was submitted. Because we have a lot of young folk here, and a lot of times they're not sure about the future, and kind of get worried about job prospects, where to go, etc. But what I like to talk to or tell at least young persons like high school students or people that are in college or just got out, I tell them that they have the superpower, and it's called time. They have so much time ahead of them. They have time to learn things, time to make connections, and to build all those things. And so for you guys, I guess your careers, they're launching. I think you guys are doing amazing and fantastic work. So I guess some question, and it's from our young people. One question that came in was, when did it feel like you guys were getting into your stride? Like this is something that, how long did it take for you to get confident in your field? And it's okay if your answer is that you still struggle with that. And I think that's a very human response as well. Not to put anyone on the spot or anything, right? But if there's any a moment where it kind of felt like I'm getting the hang of it, might not be a pro, but this is something that I'm good at, right? That you got that sense of confidence.
I just wanted to take this first because this was actually something that I was discussing with my supervisor just the other day. In the sense of, I don't think I've hit my stride yet. I'm always kind of feeling like self-doubt in a way, but it was also one of those moments where I was essentially told there's always something within your control. which I think is really important because each day, even though I had those doubts about like whether the work I was doing was actually like accurate or I was actually like performing to my capabilities, it still mattered that I was going through with it anyways. Like not letting those things stop you is, I think, one of the most important things you can do. And breaking down situations into their like component parts, into like things you can control or like little baby steps, because there's always subdivisions that you can make of like certain situations. You never have to like tackle something all at once. And yeah, so there's always something that you can control.
So I'm always doing something. I just built a website, backpacktraveling.com, if you want to be one of the first users. I forgot to put a QR code up. But yeah, so when I am always not surprised, but whenever my agent tells me or whenever a friend reaches out, oh, this so-and-so is looking for something, that's how I know I'm still in the game. So every week there's always something happening. Even if for example, I just did a callback and I didn't get the role, but still to get something, it was basically commercial shooting in Spain. So there's always these little things, these little nuggets that like fall in my lap, and it just helps me to keep going. So it's not really doubt, because I just feel like I'm just so lucky to be able to even make it this far. Because I never thought that it would be an actor. So to me, this is like gravy. Yeah.
Sure. The question is, about when during your career did you feel confident about what you're doing? Right? And it's okay also if you felt confident from the beginning. It's like, I'm a superstar. Like, I don't understand the question.
That's actually kind of what I'm gonna say, but when I perform, I kind of black out and I don't really remember everything in detail because I'm like playing the part of whatever I'm doing in that moment. And that's just how performing in general has been. And just further background, I did theater growing up. So like being on stage, like lights here, the audience ends up being black. Like you don't remember the things that are happening. Like obviously I can see all of you right now, but when I'm doing it in metaphorically, like this all just becomes empty and I'm just all by myself. And I feel like that feeling is what has continued to drive me as a dancer. Like when I'm in Times Square, I don't remember anything that's happening around me unless someone interrupts us or something, but I could not tell you who was standing around us or what was going on or what time it was, right? So I think for me, that's what dance is, and that's why that's just driving me throughout this whole career. But also when I'm teaching my kids, I have a couple of students that are middle school or like 10 to 12 aged girls who we've created a little team at one of the studios I work at, and they are so talented. And seeing them on stage doing their thing, I get to see them from a third point of view. So then I'm like, oh, that's what it looks like to see somebody do something that they love, when usually I'm the one as the first person just not knowing what other people see. And that has been really great to see them grow into their dance experience.
Sure, one more time. When in your career did you feel confident about what you're doing?
Confidence. I think, when someone buys your work, it kind of gives you like a physical action, like of approval that you're actually doing something good. Something that people are willing to pay for. But at the same time, I still feel like not as confident even after working on so many things, because there's just so many good artists out there too. And then obviously I'm comparing myself to them and but I think that's like a healthy way of critiquing your own work. But I don't think you should feel too confident, at least in drawing. You shouldn't feel too confident because that's when you stop getting better. And so that's what I was always told too. Like there's some certain artists out there not gonna name names, but you know that they're confident in their work, and then they haven't changed their style in like the past 10 years. And so
There's a specific comic artist I have in mind that I think you might be referring to. But I won't say his name.
yeah,
Or her name.
we won't make
There
it
it is.
easier. But yeah, I think someone buying my work was like, you know, like, oh, you're doing something good, and then keep that going.
Gotcha. I think we have time for 2 more submitted questions before the final one. So this next one, I guess it's about, like a lot of our cultural identity, right? And I think you guys were also talking about it before when folks were starting to trickle in. And it's about our, like our Asian identity, Asian American life here, our heritage, the way we grew up. How has this affected the way that you've approached your work? The stereotype is, Asian parents are like, you gotta be doctor or lawyer. I'm a lawyer. So that's what happened. You wanted to be a lawyer at some point. You were spending some medical terms before, right? So, or something like that. And like,
I did want to be a lawyer.
at one point, but that's what I'm saying. And so, but it's okay that you don't have, because you don't have to go that route. I'm a lawyer, I practice law, I've been to court, I've done a lot of cool things, but then I decided to one day pivot and work full-time in the nonprofit sphere. So that I can do cool things like this with meeting amazing, fantastically accomplished people and having to speak with all of you, right? I love doing this. It's not the lawyer life, but I was okay with it. Right? And so I guess for you guys, as with your Asian American heritage, the way you grew up and all that stuff, how does that really play in to the work that you guys do? If at all. If it doesn't affect it at all, I mean, I guess 2026 we've come a very long way, right? And it doesn't always have to be like, the assumption is that it's always a negative thing, but it can also be a very positive thing where, because I believe that diversity brings such a nice pool of talents from different experiences. And I think I'm talking too much on your behalf, and I might be taking this, oh man, he said the thing I was gonna say. So I'm gonna let the panelists speak a little bit more on this.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I didn't, my parents didn't know I applied to art school in high school, and so, but apparently they were fine with it, and it was something that I was like pretty decent at, and so I think after graduating, they really didn't they didn't think I was doing anything because I would just be in my room drawing all the time. But there was like a point in my time where like my dad saw me working at a con, and then he actually like didn't bother me as much or like didn't worry about me as much. But my parents also did music, so it kind of it gives me the excuse to not do a traditional job. I don't think I'd be good at a traditional job either. But yeah, so there's that, and then there was something you said. What was like the second part of that question?
I guess with our heritage, right, or at least our lived experiences, how's that impacted the work you do? But also as a side note, I actually know his dad. He's really cool. And there was a moment in life where I actually knew his dad longer than I knew him, and I was like, wait, you guys are related? I was like, what? And so yeah, that's like a whole side origin story of how I got to know this.
I got my first Marvel gig because I'm Korean. They were doing a project called Tiger Division, and it was with a team of like Korean superheroes, and they were looking for some Korean artists and writers and stuff, and I was one of the people. And I got that gig because like a couple months before I actually met up with the editor at Marvel at a con, and so just like me pestering him, emailing him about asking for a job and any openings or whatever, and then he emails me back with this. And so me being Korean was definitely helpful. There is a negative side, if I can kind of go into that. You kind of get typecasted in certain cases where like I only end up doing the Korean characters, and that's not what I wanted. And so there were actually some opportunities where they offered me to draw a book, and it was another Korean character, and I said no. And it was also like a webtoon format, which I don't want to do. And so that kind of led into another project that I got to do, Iron Man, which is not an Asian character. And so that was like really cool to work on like an A-list character like that as well. So, yeah.
First part of the question, or the general idea of the question is, with our heritage, right? Our heritage, our culture, our lived experiences, how's that impacted your work? And it can be positive, it can be the downsides, it can be a mix of both. Whatever your lived experiences and your truth is.
Yeah, I think like I mentioned earlier, so I had done visual arts and dance alongside each other for a long time growing up. And then when I was trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, I was very doubtful that the entertainment industry would actually be developed into more accepting of Asian Americans. And even now, you really actually don't see a lot of Asian Americans as much as like mainland Asians breaking through into the entertainment industry. Like K-pop is from Korea. Like you don't really see Korean American artists as big as they are. So that was why I doubted myself, and then I went into the visual arts direction. But then now gaining confidence from how much K-pop has extended out to the West, I just take this fully as part of my identity. And also, ironically, unironically, the K-pop dance community, there's like a handful of Korean Americans or Koreans who are dancing with me. So I'd like to be one of those proud Koreans who are dancing K-pop, you know, even though there's only a few of us. And then also piggybacking off of what Chris was saying, my parents have always been supportive of the arts, but I think they were just worried of the instability of it, and that was what the comment was earlier from my mom, like you should probably do something as an extension of not just dancing by yourself or with your friends. And I think extending out to teaching, now I'm meeting other people, I'm mentoring students who are, some of them are Korean and some of them are, you know, of half Korean heritage, and really supporting them and being there for that next generation is so exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think in terms of heritage, I guess growing up in America where you see like, I guess predominantly non-Asian faces, it really did teach me the importance of visibility. And it's also like, as an extension of that, you're not only being visible as like a representation of like your culture, so to speak, but you're also embodying kind of like your values in a way. So showing up to, I guess, my work, where it's like you're literally in government, there's also this aspect of like what's at stake. It's like, are you putting forth a good example of like being Korean American or like second generation Asian American, or like how are you able to connect with people across different ideological and ethnic backgrounds? And it's really humbling, I'd say, because sometimes you have folks who their only experiences with faces like mine are negative. But then if I come into the arena and like lead with kindness, for instance, then that changes, like just that one data point for them becomes like, it completely changes their perception of people who look like us, right? So I think that it does become this notion of taking care about how you present yourself, but also taking care to make sure that like how you present yourself is also not sacrificing your values at the same time.
So I'm Chinese American, Fujonese. So my family is very conservative, and they expect me to just get married and have kids, I guess. And while being a doctor at the same time, or a lawyer. I wish I had majored in art school because I do love painting and I love art. I think being Asian American has, and being born and raised in New York, first of all, and then being Asian American, I grew up in Woodside. Woodside is a very diverse neighborhood, so I never felt excluded or different, because we had people from everywhere. In terms of stories, though, I focus on Asian American stories. Half the Sky, Asian American story. A Chinatown ghost story that was inspired by someone who was actually murdered in 1909 in Chinatown. So it really influences everything that I do. So there's a lot of people who, once they make it big, maybe they're not working on Asian American stories because there's lack of a budget. I focus on Asian American stories, specifically, because I feel like there's not enough people writing about our stories.
Thank you. So I also know that a lot of people look up to you guys, right? And so this other question that I submitted is, who do you guys look up to? Who are your role models or your heroes? I guess like in real life or fiction, I guess. I don't know.
I love Sandra Oh. I love her so much. I wanted to play her sister, but Aquafina got the role. So I love Sandra Oh. I love her acting. I love her since Grey's Anatomy. There's a lot of people, just Anna May Wong being like the first Asian American actress.
I feel like you look like you could play your sister really well.
Yeah, that's what people say. And not that Asians all look alike, but I feel like I could play her sister. Or I'll be her stand-in. I just love her so much.
Is it just Sandra Oh, or is there anyone else from your life that you look up to?
It doesn't have to be an actor. It could be
Yeah, it could be anyone. Yeah.
I see. Man, look up to yourself. Be the person that you want to look up to. Yeah.
I feel like this goes for a lot of us who have immigrant parents, but I look up to them a lot. And then, especially as I get older, and I'm reaching the ages that they were when they immigrated to America. It's like my parents moved here when they were 26, 27. And I'm thinking about that right now. I'm ugh, how? That's insane. And then made a whole new life and first of all, made friends in your mid-20s in a completely foreign, that's insane. That's insane to me. But
don't scare them.
No, right, sorry. No, if you want to move abroad, you can do whatever you set your mind to, as evidenced by my parents. I look up to them, and going back to what I was saying about my coworkers, I look up to them a lot. I think it's just so important when you have so many diverse backgrounds coming together for the sake of a common project, which is essentially making lives better for a lot of people. And when I see them, they're basically just doing their jobs, but then I'm on the side being oh my god, the way you saved that Word document is so my coworkers and my parents.
I think also my mom, for sure. I think when I was little, she was the ultimate tourist, where she would take me to every single place possible you could think of. So I was at the Met every weekend, taking these classes that they offer. And I don't know why, but now I know the map of the Met really well. And she would just take me to Governor's Island, all of Central Park, and living out farther in Queens, farther out in Flushing and Bayside. That's a trek to take your child into the city, take them to the top of the Empire State Building, which I don't remember, but I know we did that. And she wanted me to see all of the city that has to offer. And now I have a little brother, he's 11. I don't think she would be able to do that again. She just lets him be the second child. But when she was raising me, she really just let me see everything that the city has to offer. And I think that's why I'm such a creative, where she took me to Broadway musicals, anything that I could possibly go to. And now that I dance in the city itself, she will come to support me sometimes. It's great to see her always supporting me and believing in what I do, because she created the person I am, essentially.
obviously is like the go-to answer. But besides my parents, my older brother, I think, you know, there's some aspects, you know, where I hate him, but at the same time, I look up to him a lot. And he's not in the arts at all, but, you know, there's certain things about him that I look up to. In the industry, there's an artist named Jim Lee. If you guys are familiar, he's a Korean American artist, and he's like now the co-president of DC Comics. But he was like a very inspirational art style, changed a lot of the ways how comics are made, and a lot of people were inspired by his style. And like for him to be an artist and then go up as like, build up to like the co-president of DC Comics is like unheard of almost. And so I think just business-wise, like he's just a really good person to look up to, just being successful in that sense. So yeah.
Great, and we have time for one last question. So this is the one I saved up at the end. What is one piece of advice that you would give for young folks out there? And another way to think about it is, what's a piece of advice you give to your younger self?
If you guys are trying to draw for a profession, draw the hard stuff. So if you guys draw like only heads, draw the feet, draw hands, and remember this. There's like 3 traits as a professional that people look at. It's being on time, being good, and being nice. If you have two of those 3, then you'll be fine. If you have all 3, you'll be very fine. But have at least 2. Oh yeah, be nice, be a good person to work with, or be on time, or be really good at what you do. I think that applies to more than just drawing, right? Yeah. If you want me to go into it, you can be like very nice to work with and like on time, but you don't have to be the best at what you do, and people will still kind of like be lenient with you. If you're really good at what you do and you're really nice, they'll be happy to wait a little bit for your work. And if you're on time and you're really good at what you do, you can kind of be rude, and they'll be like, they're still doing good work and it's on time, so they'll let that pass.
I think this applies for Stephanie's career as well, but you gotta just put yourself out there. I think for entertainment and dance, and it's all about visibility, and if people don't know who you are just in general, then how are they gonna find you, right? If you don't have, like, I use my social media as kind of like a portfolio, right? So you gotta just put yourself out there, post whatever you want, no matter what it feels like in the moment, because then later you can archive it, but for now, just put it out there so that people can see what you're working on. And then later you can start curating it more and making it more towards one specific, but just go, just turn it out, just let everything out onto whatever platform you want to be using.
If you're gonna use social media for work, have a separate personal profile. You don't want to mix the two.
That's really good.
I agree with what everyone said about, because being on time is so important as an actor, because people could lose millions of dollars on a production if you're late. So it's really important to be on time. It's also very important to be kind, because it's so competitive to be an actor that it's so easy to just switch you out with someone else. And for example, my friend, when they say that they submit something, they'll get like 1,000 applications in the first 30 minutes or first few minutes. It's crazy. It's very competitive out there. But I also want to say have you ever heard of Ikigai? It's these 3 circles that represent different paths in your life that you can take, and at the intersection of it is something that you would want to do. Because the advice that we give you, like you might be creating new roles. There are new jobs out there that we don't know that didn't even exist before. So just finding something that you can get paid for, something that you're good at, and something that you like to do. And if you can find a job in those three intersections, I think you'll go really far.
Everyone had such good advice. Yeah, I mean, I guess something that's been ringing true for me lately is like making them say no. I feel like, and this is what I shared with, I feel like I shared with you all previously. It's like, I feel like so often we're kind of conditioned to ask for permission in a lot of ways, and it leads to us kind of like being afraid to like take a plunge on certain things. But like everyone here was saying, like putting yourself out there, the fear, I feel like we are also afraid far more than like what the reality is. It's like the fear of like what we have, like what we think of in our mind is always like far scarier than like what the actual reality is. So I would say like, yeah, making them say no, and that applies to things like relationships, for instance. Like if you're afraid of like talking to someone because like they would never like someone like me, it's like, well, find that out first, right? And then, I mean, if they don't, then like, oh, sorry. But you can just move on to the next one, right? Or you can just keep at it, and then make them like you at the end of the day, you know? Yeah, so, you know. Yeah, I like what everyone else here said. It's like, yeah, putting yourself out there. I think proactivity is like really underrated, especially now when like so many things are like fed to us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that was our panel. Let's give them a loud round of applause. All right, then we're going to do a group photo with everybody here. Can everyone like just try to get to the center of the rows that they're in, and then we're gonna try to like do like a group stage selfie. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So everyone just try to like get to the center of the row that you're in, so you can get in the photo. Don't be shy. Remember, you gotta show up, right? That's like the theme of this. So it's recording, right? Both? All right, awesome. At the count of three, we're gonna say, pursue your passion, all right? 1, 2, 3. Pursue your passion! Woo! All right, thank you all for coming. There is a QR code. To learn more about KCS and the work that they do, they also have a lot of volunteer opportunities. You can scan the QR code right over there. And I have my own separate QR code. I am from Green American Civic Empowerment. So if you want to learn more about us and volunteer with us, you can just click the QR code all over here. So I'll just keep it there. You can also take a photo, you know. And one last QR code is our feedback survey. I hope that the table's not in the way, but if you can, let us, fill out the survey and let us know what you thought about it. We would love to do a lot more programming like this, but your feedback would help us to figure out what it is that you're looking for. You want more career panels? You want more talking about the legislative process in City Hall? Fill out the survey, let us know what you like. We're going to stick around for a little bit while we clean up, but we do, I think the library did ask us to leave by 7. So we have a few minutes over here. So yeah, if our panelists would like to just stick around and converse with people, you guys can just hang out near the stage. And yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Get home safely.